Welcome, Annie Collins for Imagine Crafts. Today we'll be creating this cute Valentine's Day card. We'll be using a variety of Imagine Craft products, starting with VersaMagic Jumbo Java, Memento and Desert Sand, Delicata and Glitz Gold, Clair and Nocturne, Brilliance and Pearlescent Orchid. We'll be using some finger daubers and a stencil called Little Friends. We're going to be using this cute little raccoon down here. A stamp from Valentine. We'll be using the sentiment and a few hearts. Some Imagine Tarot tape for adhering it all, some shimmer, sheer, spray, and sparkle, StazOn multi-purpose cleaner, and some dual on-point glue. All right, let's get started. First, I'm going to adhere my stencil to a piece of white smooth cardstock. I'm pressing out all the air bubbles. This stencil is great because it's self-adhesive, so no extra masking tape or anything to hold it down. I'm going to use a finger dauber and add the ink through the stencil, I'm going to start with Desert Sand, and I'm going to cover the entire raccoon. Then I'll go back in and add some more color with the Jumbo Java. I'm doing it with Desert Sand first because it'll leave little highlights wherever I need to, where it won't look white. So I'm simply putting on the ink in a swirling motion. This will give you a nice, smooth, and even coverage rather than dabbing it. That'll give you a nice coverage as well, but it'll give you a texture. And I didn't want a textured look here. So I'm going with the VersaMagic in the Jumbo Java with a new finger dauber. Each ink has its own finger dauber. I'm going to put in the areas that I want darker, like the area around his eyes and his nose, his little arms, and then sections of his tail. Then I'll go over it once again with the Desert Sand dauber to smooth it all out and get myself a nice even blend. I will squeeze away any extra ink I may have that I do not want in certain areas. Now, I'm going to gently remove the stencil. First, I'm going to wipe off any of the extra ink so I don't transfer it all over the place. I add a little bit of the Brilliance and the Pearlescent Orchid to the ears, just to give a little hint of pink in there. I'm going to set my stencil aside, and I'm going to trim our little raccoon out. I'm going to use my scissors just to do this to that. And I'm leaving a little white edge all the way around. Now I have 65 weight layering cardstock here in a pale pink. I'm going to start with the Delicata Gold and some of the hearts from the stamp set. And I'm going to stamp them in a few places. I'm going to bring in the raccoon just to make sure that I can see the hearts. I don't want to cover them completely. Then, okay, one more. Then I'm going to repeat the process using the Brilliance in Pearlescent Orchid. But before I do, I'm going to clean my stamp using the StazOn multi-purpose cleaner because I don't want to contaminate my stamp pad. And now I'm going to do the same thing. Stamp some pink hearts onto our layering cardstock. Again, checking with my raccoon to make sure that that they show and they're not being completely covered up. I'm going to clean my stamp and set it to the side. Now, this is when I decide I want to give my little raccoon some shimmer, being that the hearts are nice and shimmery. With sheer shimmer spray, you must shake it so that the mica or the color pigments that are on the bottom can go throughout can blend properly. You want to spray about 8 to 12 inches away from your project. So I'm having a little spot box here. This is just to contain some of the spray off so it doesn't go everywhere. Excuse me. And there you have it. I have a nice shimmer on my little raccoon. Trying to get my camera to focus. There we go. Now I have a 2 by 3 square piece of white cardstock for my sentiment. And I'm going to stamp it here. And the sentiment reads, "You're stinking cute." Yes, I know this is a raccoon, and that sentiment goes for a skunk on the stamp set. but raccoons are known to, you know, go through trash. So who says they aren't stinky? So I'm gonna dry off my raccoon a little bit because he's still wet, and I'm just using a heat tool to do this. You can let it dry on its own, of course. I'm gonna trim my sentiment into a little banner, so I'm gonna trim it to about 1 by 3 inches. I'm gonna create a fishtail end simply by snipping in the center and going from each corner to that center snip. And now we have a fishtail end. I'm going to use my Tear It tape, and I'm going to add it to the back of my pink cardstock that has the heart stamped onto it. And I'm going to layer that onto my card base. My card base is 110 pound heavyweight cardstock, which is on a top folding card. Now that our layer is done, I'm going to add some foam adhesive to the back of our raccoon and place him, making sure I leave space for my sentiment. So I want him a little bit more towards the bottom. Double checking, and it fits. Before I add some foam adhesive to my sentiment, I want to add a pink, it's the Pearlescent Orchid hearts here to the sentiment. So now I have 3 of each of the colored hearts clusters. I'm going to place it here with some foam tape. And anything that's extra hanging over, I'm just going to snip away with my scissors. And there, your card is complete. However, I wanted to add a little extra to mine. So I'm going to bring in some jewels and my Imagine Crafts On Point glue. I'm going to add a few jewels in between the clusters of hearts here in the sentiment banner. I'm adding a darker pink and a white, actually it's a golden colored gem, and the same thing towards the bottom the left hand corner. Yes, I know my left and my right. Okay, and there you have it. Now this is optional, you don't have to add jewels, but I thought it would give it a nice touch. So again, we used the Delicata in Glitz Gold, the Brilliance in Pearlescent Orchid for our hearts. For our raccoon, we used Memento Desert Sand and VersaMagic Jumbo Java. For our sentiment, we use Versafine Clair and Nocturne. We use some finger daubers, some Tear It tape to put it all together, some On Point glue for our jewels, and StazOn multi-purpose cleaner to clean our stamps and our stencil. I also use some sheer shimmer spray for our raccoon. With a little stencil and a stamp, we have created a fun Valentine's Day card. I'll have all the products listed in the description box below. If you like this, give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Until next time.